the possibility of civil war inside the United States as a result of the collapse, and advanced roundup of insurgent U.S. citizens, that's us, likely to move against the government. The detention of those rounded up by Rex 84 camps constructed throughout the United States, the possibility of retaliation against members of Congress for the collapse, the location of safe facilities for Congress, the merger of the United States with Canada for its natural resources and with Mexico for its cheap labor, the issuance of new currency, the Mero, for all three nations as a proposed solution to the coming economic Armageddon. Every president takes an oath of office. I took an oath of office, and I continue to support the Constitution. Okay. But this oath of office is to defend and support the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Here, some time ago, President Bush said, "What's the Constitution? It's just a goddamn piece of paper." Okay? Now, as a result of the Patriot Act, I wrote a letter to Attorney General Ashcroft, and it's a long letter. I put it on the internet. I'm just going to read one paragraph from it. As a result of 9/11, we now have Homeland Security and the USA Patriot Act. The U.S. Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and who knows how many other alphabet agencies will be able to legally keep track of our credit cards, bank transactions, car rental receipts, gun purchases, passport applications, magazine subscriptions, medical prescriptions, academic grades, bank deposits, trips everybody books, events we attend, driver's license, toll bridge records, judicial and divorce records, rental car records, telephone records, interstate traffic, complaints by nosy neighbors to the FBI. It has been publicly announced that 1 in every 10 Americans are expected to become informants for the U.S. government. The Pentagon has developed an urban surveillance system that can track, record, and analyze the movement of every vehicle in a foreign city. In a foreign city. Ha ha. And what about searches of our neighbors and our property without search warrant? And randomly tap our phones and seize our property. How about this? Analyze the movement of every vehicle in a foreign city. I talked to a man in California at one of the conferences who told me that he was installing sensor devices in all the major highways in California, tied into your car. When you go over this particular highway, it keeps a record of where you are. Executive Order 12149 took the country, divided it into 10 divisions, and then Executive Order 11647, under Nixon, this goes back a few years, I designated certain cities as the capital. For example, in this division, this area, Atlanta, Georgia would be the capital. And 10 divisions. So I'm interested because let's see how they're going to handle it, how the bookie's going to handle that with football games. Are they going to say team number 5 from Division 3 is playing team number 6 from Division 8? And how are we going to bet on them? I don't know. Franklin cover-up. I had a call late 1980s. Now I'm telling you why, and Pat already touched on this. The Franklin cover-up out of Omaha, Nebraska. Driving kids to Sioux City, 184 miles, putting them in private jets, flying them to Washington, D.C. for sex orgies. That's how they get them, tell our congressmen how to vote. They frame them. I spent 2.5 months with a fellow named Rusty Nelson, who was the, quote, official photographer of this sex group. He was recruited out of Omaha, Nebraska. He would go down to the gay bars and take pictures of these people. I have nothing against gays, by the way. And then he was recruited out of there, and they asked him if he would like to go to work and so on and so forth. And Rusty was a farm kid from Nebraska. He had never been on a jet. And he saw the bright lights and all that and said, yeah, I'll take a shot at it. Well, they used Rusty as a official photographer to take these pictures of these congressmen and senators. They have meetings, and then certain groups after the meeting, some would go, they were kept overwards, and they went upstairs. And they refer to the little boys as toys. Boys are toys. For some reason or other, these perverts preferred little boys, not little girls. Anyway, beg your pardon, sir? Sounds like the Catholic Church, he says. Okay. This girl lady over here says that's, wait, hey, just relax, no fighting, please. Somebody over here said that's terrible. Well, you know, John DeCamp, who wrote the Franklin cover-up book, was the first person in the United States to sue the Catholic Church for pedophilia, and the judge threw it out of court. Then along came these other cases. Now, Pat mentioned conspiracy of silence. Am I running out of time? Huh? Well, I got about another hour and a half to go. Is that all right? I'm telling you, I could talk for 6 hours, 10 hours. Okay, but I'm not. I'm going to cut it back real short, real soon, as soon as possible. But there's a couple of points I want to get across. Pat mentioned conspiracy of silence. That was a team from Yorkshire TV in England came over on the Franklin cover-up case with a crew. They spent 7 months here. And the show was to be aired on Discovery Channel on May the 3rd, 1994. It was actually written up in Discovery Channel, the TV guide. When certain members of Congress found out about it, they ordered all copies destroyed. Somebody bought up the rights anonymously, and it never aired. Now, it was listed in TV Guide. And I bought a copy of TV Guide about 4 years ago, and it's not listed there anymore. So I went to the newspaper in Los Angeles, and I had a friend of mine in Philadelphia go to the TV log section, and it's listed. So I got them, okay? I exposed them. But I've been selling, I've probably sold 200 or 300 of those. And I received a letter here about 2.5 years ago from a company in London, and they said, quit selling them or we're going to sue you. So I had to take them off the list. And that's a story about where Congress came in and bought the rights and ordered all copies destroyed. If you want a copy of that, just get one of my forms. These are the forms I have. And I thought I had one here. Come to my table. Yeah, that's it, yeah. Get one of my forms, just write conspiracy silence on the back, and we'll get it out to you. But for the record, if somebody interviews you and tries to sue me, you're going to say, I gave it to you as a gift, okay? But I do appreciate a little donation on it, of course. So anyway, that's the story on that. Now, based on my 28 years experience, actually 29, 30 years experience, and research, I've determined there are thousands of victims who have been targeted by an illegal U.S. government rogue criminal enterprise, military intelligence probably, that is military intelligence tied into CIA, FBI, and so forth, that is active 24 hours a day throughout the United States. A network of victims who work with me have reached the same conclusion based on 1, their personal experiences, 2, the significant numbers of victims, and 3, the extent and intensity of the harassment. It is far too active to be operated and controlled by private enterprise. Private enterprise goals are to achieve financial gain. These operations require extensive financing to operate with no return on the investment. Have you ever heard of a business that wanted to do something and not get a return? No, of course not. These programs are financed through illegal black operations, i.e. drugs, prostitution, gambling, kidnapped children who are auctioned off as sex slaves, used... Okay, I give up. Used as human sacrifices and body parts. I believe this well-organized, sophisticated operation has a central command located somewhere in the United States with multiple satellite offices scattered throughout the country. This is based on my research, 28, 30 years, okay. It appears that those who administer the program can call any location in the United States for surveillance, a telephone tap, or other activity and harassment directed at a victim and immediately disperse manpower to the scene. This well-greased covert operation makes the old FBI COINTELPRO program look like a Sunday school class. I can document that the government, mainly military intelligence, has expertise, finance, and manpower to effectively administer such a program. To understand why and how a black ops criminal enterprise by this rogue element targets an individual, is necessary to 1, identify the individual, 2, outline the reason the victim is targeted, and 3, document and identify the weapons and tactics being directed against him or her. I have done this without any question.